I am beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Game number 54, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. Released in 1999, this game was both developed and published by LucasArts. I'm not sure what's going on with the random number generator, but it really likes when we play Star Wars, I guess. This game must have been quite popular, as it received a complete remaster on modern consoles in 2020. I'd personally never played it though, so I'm heading into this one with a fresh mindset. The main single player mode in this game is the tournament, so we'll be completing that to beat this game. When you're choosing all your races and things like that, it puts you in this bar area with a bunch of robots. The first thing we do is choose our racer. There's quite a few to choose from, like Anakin Skywalker, Ebb Endicott, Dud Bolt, Gascano, Elon Musk, and Odie Mandrell. Everyone has different stats in traction, turning, acceleration, top speed, air brake, cooling, and repair. Even though his stats were awful, my chat really wanted me to play as Elon Musk, so I did. The tournament has a bunch of circuits with 7 races each. The first is the amateur circuit. First track is the Boonta training course at Tatooine. So the races start like any other, everyone near the starting point together, and you all take off at the same time. There are 12 racers total and 3 laps per race. For the UI, the bottom right is your speed in some sort of units, and the bottom left is your pod racer's health. Each segment of it goes from green to red as you take more damage. If it gets too damaged, then you blow up and respawn, losing a lot of time. You also can crash into a wall to fill your damage instantly. Real fun stuff. If you've played this before, you probably recognize the announcer guy saying, "It's a new lap record!" I heard that so many times during this playthrough. Anyway, this first race was incredibly easy. None of the other racers came close to catching me. Easy first place. When you finish a race, you earn the currency, True Guts, which can be used to purchase upgrades to your pod racer. There's a shop with this dude with a creepy voice where you can buy new parts.
Only the best parts you'll find here in my shop, huh?
I upgraded my turning after the first one. Race 2 is the Mongaza Speedway. Honestly, not too much to say about this one. It's a much darker environment. Kinda feels like we're racing through a city. This one's really easy and it's really short. The entire race lasted about 90 seconds. After certain races, you unlock a new racer to play as along with their ship. I didn't check every single one I unlocked, but I imagine they're just characters from the movies. Next is Beto's Wild Ride. Before this race, I learned you can change how the race winnings are distributed. It starts with a split prize, you know, like first place getting the most down to fourth place getting a little bit less. But you can change it to a winner takes all format, so you gain more True Guts for getting first place, which is definitely the way to go. From 1200 for first up to 2200. Big increase. This track's a large snowy environment. There's a lot of different looks for the tracks and it keeps them fresh. This one introduces ice terrain, which is just so awful to steer on. Kinda weird considering we're hovering. You'd think the ground wouldn't matter, but I guess it does. And then there's this large cave system with a bunch of branching paths with tight hallways. I'm sure one of them's faster than the other, but I couldn't really tell. The last race was 90 seconds total, and this one was over 2 minutes for a single lap. Some of the tracks in this game are incredibly long, which it gets kinda tedious. Next race is the Aqualaris Classic. The races kinda started blending together at this point, with the amateur circuit being as easy as it is. I learned a new technique in this one, and that's how to boost. The speedometer in the bottom right has a meter on it that fills up as you drive. If you keep driving at top speed without slowing down, it fills up and shows a green dot. Then if you keep going a bit longer while that dot is there, it fills up again and the dot turns yellow. This signals to you that the boost is ready. Let off the acceleration and then immediately repress it and you'll nearly double in speed temporarily. It's such a huge increase in speed, but the catch is you can't turn well at all while you're boosting, so it's only a good idea to use it when you know you're in a long straightaway. Anyway, as you might guess, I won this one as well. It was very easy knowing how to boost now. Between races, along with buying upgrades to your ship, you can purchase pit droids. These allow you to make repairs to your upgrade parts at a faster rate. As you're racing and take damage from crashing, your parts will deteriorate over time, lowering their stats. The pit droids are a great investment in keeping them in a better shape for longer. You can buy up to 3 of them, and I highly recommend it. Next up is the Malistaire 100, a nice nighttime outdoor track. This one had a cool looking green section, like I don't know how else to describe it other than it's all green looking. It looks really cool. Then there's the first challenging aspect of a track. There's this huge gap you have to race over. If you don't have enough speed or you don't pull back at the right angle, then you just crash into the abyss. The tracks will get much more difficult later on, but this was the first sign that things weren't as easy as they seemed. Thankfully, you can restart a race with no penalty, so you just keep retrying until you get first place, which I did after 3 tries on this one. Then comes Vengeance at Uvo 4. This one is completely pitch black in the sky, and it feels like a professional racetrack. This one introduced this disorienting tunnel where your racer spins around and the perspective just really throws you off. It can kind of make you dizzy. Plus, there's asteroids in the tunnel that you blow up if you touch them. I struggled with this part a lot, honestly. It felt so unnatural to drive through. I crashed like a ton. I struggled to stay in first on this one, so something needed to change. I went back and checked out the other place to upgrade your ship, the junkyard. Here you can find very high level parts at a lower price, but I think it's random what's there, and they deteriorate faster. Unfortunately though, I didn't have enough True Guts to buy anything, so that idea was out. It was time. Despite Elon Musk doing pretty well up to this point, his stats, well, they just sucked. So he had to go. I swapped him out for Ebb Endicott, and the stats were way better. Immediately, I could tell things were different. This guy could actually make turns, and it was way faster with more acceleration. It was like a night and day difference, honestly. Along with better stats, the pod racer, it was just flat out smaller in size, and it made it much easier to avoid the asteroids in that tunnel. The only real issue I can think of is it's less tanky, so it blew up easier, but just don't crash and then you'll never blow up, so it's not an issue. With the new setup, I won this one insanely easy. Now it was the final race of the amateur circuit, the Spice Mine Run at Mongaza. It's outdoors with the sky being red. It'd be pretty scary to live here, I think. This one was a pushover though, and I'd beaten the entire amateur circuit. It shows a cutscene with the top 3 racers on a podium and everybody celebrating or whatever, and that's it. On to the next. The second circuit is the semi-pro circuit. A good thing about moving up to the next one is the reward per race increases. It went from 2,200 per win up to 3,300. First race in this circuit is the sunken city at Aqualaris. I noticed the environment of this track was reused from one of the earlier ones. The game does this a lot, however the tracks themselves are quite different. They will either be a completely new track or they'll have new paths opened up that were blocked off before, and it increases the length quite a bit. One thing to mention is the audio while you're driving. It's basically dead silence other than the sound effects and the racers yelling at each other when they pass. That is, until the final lap. When you hit the final lap, some epic racing music kicks in, and it's honestly really cool.
It's a new lap record!
One more lap. Dude, this track's so long. Like, the computer's getting destroyed. We're so far back. I just kind of wish they had this music going for every lap. I'm not sure why it only plays at the end. Anyway, I beat this first race with ease. Most of the races in this circuit, honestly, they were really easy. There was the Howler Gorge at Ando Prime, the Doug Derby at Malistaire, the Scrappers Run at Wordy, Bana, then the Zugga Challenge at Mongaza. Race 6 was the Baru Coast at Barduna. This one is in a new environment, and it has a ton of narrow hallways that make it easy to crash. However, as long as you're not boosting at the wrong time, it's still easy. Speaking of boosting, I learned here if you keep your boost going too long, you can overheat. You just have to make sure to brake before the meter on the right fills up all the way. This track, it was a nice change of pace though. It has beaches, a jungle, and the city area. In the end, it was still really easy though. I got first place on my first try. The final track in this circuit was Bumpy's Breakers at Aqualaris. This track, I feel, served as a gateway to showing you how the harder tracks would be. There was this long section with many tight turns, and you have to utilize both braking and drifting or you're definitely going to crash. The track itself is pretty tough to drive on, but it's still the semi-pro league, so the racers aren't very difficult to stay ahead of. I got first place on the first try, beating the semi-pro circuit. We get a show off on the podium again, and then that's it. The final circuit is the Galactic Pod Racing Circuit. The prize here increased from 3,300 400 up to 4400. First race is the Executioner at Uvo 4. I could definitely tell the difficulty was ramped up here because even with good use of boosting, the other racers, they were still fairly close behind me instead of not even showing up on the map like before. It took about 3 tries, but I was able to take this one. It was tough for now, but I had been saving up for an upgrade that was going to bring my top speed to the max. I figured once I had that, it would be easier to win, even in this circuit. Race 2 was Sebulba's Legacy at Malistaire. This one wasn't too bad, I got first in 2 tries. After that race, I had enough True Guts to buy the max speed upgrade, and man, I was excited to test it out. The third race was the Grabvine Gateway at Barduna, and yeah, this was really nuts. I went from about 450 speed without boosting to well over 600. Absolutely insane. This was the first what I would call tough track, as it had this really rough pit area with massive turns and almost no room to move. Not the best time to have max speed, you know? Then there was this jungle area where the water acted similar to being on ice, except now there's also really tight turns. So you have to attempt to drift over them, but good luck with the water physics. I honestly got stuck here. It felt like I couldn't win no matter what I tried. The only thing I could think to do was check the racers I'd unlocked to see if anyone better was there. I ended up going with Juan Sandage, as he still had max top speed, but along with very high turning and braking. Should help with those tight turns. And yeah, I immediately noticed a difference, as I could make the lesser turns without even touching the brake. This was a game changer. Literally. You know, because this is a game, and it changed how the game played. Anyway, even with this upgraded racer, it was still tough to beat this one. I was here for almost an hour, then I finally broke free, although I tried to choke it away. This was honestly one of the hardest tracks in the game, just all the turns and the long lap times combined, it was really tough. Race 4 was the Andobi Mountain Run at Ando Prime. Compared to that last race, this one was a cakewalk. Only the ice parts were scary, but even with those, it wasn't hard at all. I'd been taking too much damage in races and my speed part broke. I ended up switching to Bullseye Navior for these races, as his stats were even higher. Race 5 was Death Row's Revenge at Wordy Bana. Right away at the start of this one, there was this thin air bridge that you can fall off of. It's not a big deal now, but we're going to revisit this track, and oh boy. I think this track is in that area from Rogue Squadron where we had to blow up the fuel containers or whatever, but also I'm not sure. There was a shortcut I found in this one where you veer off the path to cut through some buildings. It saves quite a bit of time. The game has a lot of shortcuts in the different tracks, and as long as you can make it to the end of the race, it allows you to veer off the course, like it doesn't penalize you like some racing games do. With the shortcut, I took this one pretty easily. Race 6 is the Fire Mountain Rally at Barduna. It's that same jungle area we all know and love, except now we go inside a literal volcano. Driving in the lava doesn't directly blow you up, but it does increase your damage rapidly, so try to avoid it. This has many of the same elements from the tough race earlier, but my stats are just so much better now that it's not really hard. I beat it on the 3rd try. The final race in this circuit is the Boonta Classic at Tatooine. This track's really cool because it's a 1-to-1 recreation of the track from the actual Star Wars movie. I haven't seen the movie, but people were commenting about features they recognized as I was racing. This one was tough, mostly due to how long it is, along with all the seemingly randomly placed rocks. Then there were these steam vents where if you got hit by one, it would light your engine on fire, causing you to just slowly blow up. It took around a half hour or so, but I took this one down along with the entire galactic pod racing circuit. It shows us celebrating on the podium one final time, then the credits roll. Game complete. Well, not quite. While this is beating the game, there was still one final thing left to do. The game offers an optional invitational circuit with 4 races. These are some of the toughest tracks the game has to offer, so it's definitely a good idea to wait till the end to play them. The first one is the Ando Prime Centrum at Ando Prime. This one's actually incredibly easy. I believe you unlock each race in this tournament for winning the different circuits, so it gets harder as you go. I beat this one just easy on the first try. Second race is the Abyss at Wordy Bana. This one was so hard, man. Remember that bridge from earlier? Yeah, now if you fall off it, there's no barrier to save you. You just fall off into nothingness and you lose a ton of time from respawning. Speed is absolutely not key here. You have to go just incredibly slow, as falling, it's even slower than just driving slow and being safe. Thankfully, the other racers are slow in this one, as it's one of the early tracks. I beat it in a few tries, but if the other racers were actually going fast, I I don't know. This one would have been really hard. Race 3 is the Gauntlet at Uvo 4. Not much to say about this one. It's way easier than the previous race, and the other racers, they're still slow. The tracks in the Invitational are way harder than the others, but the racers just aren't as good as they were in the Galactic Circuit. The final race is the Inferno at Barduna. This one takes place mostly inside that volcano from earlier, so lots of tight turns with dangerous lava to avoid. However, my pod racer was upgraded so much by this point that it was pretty free to win, even if I crashed like crazy. I took this one down second try, beating the final race this game had to offer. One final thing to note is the game offers a really unique alternate control scheme. If you plug a second N64 controller in, you can actually play single player using 2 controllers. I tried it out and I kind of hated it, but maybe some of y'all would like this style of play. Basically, the joystick on each controller controls one of the engines on the racer. So like player 1 stick controls the left and player 2 controls the right. I just don't see how this is supposed to work well because it turns so awkwardly, but maybe if you master it, it's a lot better than the single stick control style. So yeah, there you have it, my journey to beating Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. This game was definitely worth playing. Although it's a racing game and those get repetitive, it does the racing aspect very well. There's tons of unique tracks keeping them feeling fresh. The graphics are very good and the game runs at a solid frame rate. I wish it played music during the entire race, but at least you get some during the last lap. The upgrade system makes it feel like you're working towards a goal and you see the progression happening, and it's just fun. However, the repetitiveness can't be ignored. Racing games just struggle to keep you entertained for the entire time. I gave it a 7 out of 10 for enjoyability and a 4 out of 10 for difficulty. There was really only one track that gave me significant trouble. But yeah, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you did enjoy the video, consider giving it a like, as it does help the channel a lot. And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. But yeah, thanks for watching, and here's a sneak peek at what is coming next. 337 on the list. Could be any of these. Let's see what we get. 3, 2, 1, go. 236. That's not Star Wars. What is that? Oh, all right. We're playing Pokemon Stadium 2.